up, guys? It is the Turtle Girl. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. Good morning, or actually, I mean, it's technically not morning because I forgot to film an intro, so I'm filming it now, but disregard. Today, I'm going to be taking you guys along on my daily pet routine and just showing you what goes throughout an average day taking care of my 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 6, 10 pets. And kind of just what goes into that, feeding them, their care, their cleaning, maintenance, all that good stuff. Keep in mind that every day within my pet care is kind of a little bit different. Some days I'm doing water changes, some days I'm cleaning, some days I'm feeding, some days I'm not. But I picked this day in my schedule to film because I'm doing pretty much everything except for water changes. So I hope you guys are excited. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, that little red button down below, and let's go ahead and just get started with my day. Alright, so first up on the schedule is feeding the chickens. Basically, as soon as I wake up, I head outside and give the chickens some food and make sure that they're eating. If you remember, these are the ones we raised as chicks last summer. We still have 6 of them, but we're probably going to get rid of 2 just so that the other 4 can have more space. But I make sure they're chowing down and drinking their water and just that everybody's doing well. And then immediately after this, I will go and check their nesting boxes for eggs. You can see that one of them, I believe that's Perpetua, she is kind of being like Goldilocks, trying to decide which nesting box she wants to lay in. But I'll go ahead and collect the eggs. You might notice the golf balls in there. Those are because those were actually helping them to train them where to lay their eggs. I guess I don't need them anymore, but they're still in there. So once the eggs are all taken from the nesting boxes, I'll bring those inside. And then this is a tank you guys haven't seen before. It's actually my sister's, but somehow I got in charge of feeding it. So let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on this tank. I also learned the hard way that trying to feed fish food one-handed with your left hand is not always the best. So I put in a little more than normal, but you can see Gerald, the powder blue gourami, in here. Again, let me know if you want to see a video on this tank. I really love this, actually, so there's some platies in here and stuff. But that's that. Next up, in the mornings, I check on Hoku's tank and see if any water needs to be topped off. Usually, this is something that happens maybe every few days because I also take out some water when I feed, so I want to make sure that he has enough water to get up to the basking area. So I'll take that from the tap and then just add it into the tank. You can see Hoku just loves to play in the bubbles. And then I do the same thing with the Axolotl tank, just topping off any water. Because there's a fan running on this tank, it usually evaporates pretty quickly. I'll also do a quick survey of the Axolotl tank just to make sure there's no poops floating around in there. And then now later in the day, usually in the afternoon, I will come and take Hoku to make sure he gets his food. Hoku gets fed approximately 3 times a week, so not quite every other day, but just about. And I will be feeding him as much as fills his head if hollow. And this is just a variety of pellets. Sometimes I try to hand feed him. I kind of just let him do his thing because this process can take like 20 minutes to get him to eat all of his pellets. So I'll watch him for a little bit and then I will do some homework while he is eating all of this food. You can see he just loves to chow down. And this is why I feed in a separate container, because you can see all of the stuff that he leaves behind. And then once he's done, I will go ahead and take him and drop him back into the tank. Now you might notice that the convict cichlids are in here. That is going to be a video coming up soon. I kind of felt like the cichlids were not lonely, but like they were just the only things in Nemo's tank downstairs. So I moved them up here to be with Hoku, and so far everyone's doing great. Next up is feeding the axolotl. So this is again later in the afternoon. I will feed Mochi an earthworm, and sometimes if they're really fat, I'll have to cut them in half. So he's on a schedule of feeding about 4 times a week, but I'll go ahead and give him his earthworm, give him a couple minutes to swallow the first half, and then go in with the second half. There's a happy little Mochi. His feeding schedule is now like every other day almost. He gets fed like 4 times a week, and he still stayed this size, so I'm just assuming that he's a runt. Also, you can see the temperature in here is 61.5 degrees, so I don't really know what else to do for him. I'm assuming he's healthy. He's otherwise relatively an active little buddy. Loves his earthworms, so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And then in the afternoons, I will usually check on Sienna. I will spray down her humid hide if she needs it, and then also check her water bowl to see if that needs cleaning. If it does, I will go ahead and take that to the sink really quick and clean it out. Then I'll come back and give her some fresh water. Also during this time, I might handle her a little bit. I'm trying to get her a little bit more tame because I kind of got inconsistent with her handling, so she became a little more flighty. So I try to handle her at least every couple of days. Obviously, I wait at least 24 hours after feeding, sometimes 36 or 48, just to make sure that she's not uncomfortable and still trying to digest something. Usually, actually, as you will see here in a second, I handle her the morning of the day I'm planning to feed her, so that way she can get her feedings on time and get her feeding schedule, because she's getting fed, like, I would say 2.5 times a week, so like every 3 days or something like that. But that's just to make sure that she is not digesting anything when I'm trying to handle her. So I usually handle her the morning of, like several hours before I plan on feeding her. And then, now here's a quick warning, we're gonna go look at some dubia roaches. These are for my leopard gecko. So now it's later in the evening, I will go ahead and collect some dubia roaches for Kuzan. And then also drop some gut load in for the roaches. I gut load the roaches every single night, so that's kind of how my process is. Then when I go to check on Kuzan, I will spot clean really quickly. I like to do this in the evenings, so that way I'm not disturbing him during the morning or the daytime. And then I'll go ahead and feed him, which is always a fun time. Now I don't know if you can tell from these videos, but it actually looks like he is gonna get ready to shed. Doesn't stop him from eating, but he definitely looks a little bit chalky. So after I feed him a couple, I like to give him a break to give him a chance to swallow all the bugs in his mouth. And while I'm doing that, I will spritz down his hide, especially because I noticed that he's going to be shedding soon. Kuzan also gets fed approximately 3 times a week, usually about 8 to 10 roaches that are no wider than the width between his eyes. As you can see, he absolutely loves it. And then I saved this one for last because not everyone is a fan of this, but in the evenings I usually feed Sienna. Several hours after I handle her, she gets frozen pinky mice, like I said, usually fed about 2 times a week. Now, this time around, she actually dragged the pinky into the substrate, but I actually got some really cool footage the other day of her eating a frozen thawed pinky. If you don't want to see that, feel free to click away or skip to the timestamp that I have listed here. So here is Sienna eating a couple days ago. I got this footage with a macro lens, and I just think it turned out super duper cool. Keep in mind that Sienna is literally the thickness of my pinky finger. And you can see that once she has eaten the mouse, she actually contracts like her muscles to get it to move down her body. And Sienna's just doing great, so that's her. So now that everybody's taken care of, I just come back here, sit at my desk, work on some homework or editing a video, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for my daily pet routine. Hit the thumbs up if you did enjoy it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next Friday. Have a totally awesome day. Bye-bye!